A very warm good morning to one and all. So, students, welcome back to my class. Today, we are going to start with a very interesting chapter, and in this chapter, we are going to learn about so many different things. So, students, I'm hoping that you must have seen my all my videos regarding different previous chapters which we have taught and studied about marginalization, traditional communities, scheduled castes, and scheduled tribes. So come, let's study what this topic is all about. So today I'll be discussing the story of Raju. So before we proceed and jump to the content, I'll talk about story of Raju, how he is facing issues. So Raju lives in with his family in Delhi near the metro station of Shivaji Stadium. It is a slum area and he has a family of four people and his wife is also pregnant. So Raju was unemployed since so many years, but he did some odd jobs to support his family. Now that he will become a father very soon, his wife asked him to find permanent job, but he was denied that job, saying that he was from a lower caste, and because he will not get a job. He was also not allowed to take ration from the nearby shops because of the problem of his caste system, because he was a Dalit. Although Raju is a graduate student, marked that he is educated, still he is facing such issues of exclusion that society is not accepting him. So students, think for a minute, what should Raju do and where should he go? You may write the answers in your notebook or write the answers down in the chat box. So I'll give you 30 seconds and then I'll move on forward. Raju, according to my perspective, Raju should definitely go to the court because court has given provisions in the form of fundamental rights. Very good. So he should knock the doors of the court. So here's one another YouTube video for you. This is made by me. So if you want to watch this video, you can watch and write your assumptions down in the chat box. Now, the topic for today, which we are dealing, is marginalization. That means exclusion from the society, and how Dalit people are using this marginalization, this exclusion, in invoking the fundamental rights. So, what are they doing? How are they invoking? How are they carrying on things? Today, we will be discussing. So, now, first step is how Dalits are forcing the government to make laws. Dalits must be doing some other things because they are from low class, they are facing exclusion. That's fine. But how they are forcing the government to make laws? First of all, they are invoking by proving that constitution has laid down certain rights. That's definitely true. That play an important part of the society. Yes, agreed. Now what's the next step? Now they are saying that they have drawn on these rights by forcing the government to realize that injustice is being carried on them. Afterwards, the government is looking, recognizing and realizing, yes, तुम्हारे साथ injustice तो हुआ ही है. Now government is seeing that yes, injustice is there, so they are now making laws and they are enforcing such laws that make them feel protected. The fourth step, that how government is helping them, is government is making fundamental rights, fundamental duties, articles. Many articles are added in the constitution to safeguard the interest of the minorities. In this manner, Dalits are helping in saving their own rights. Now, first right is Article 17, that is untouchability. Now, what is untouchability all about? Untouchability, as the name suggests, किसी को छूना नहीं है, उसको छूने से कुछ हो जाएगा. All this is being carried on the name of untouchability. So, what does Article 17 made by the government state? It says that untouchability has been abolished. What else? It means that no one can henceforth prevent Dalits from educating themselves. That means they have all the rights to enter temples. They can definitely worship gods and deities, and lastly, using public facilities. They can go to parks, they can draw out water from the common well, and so many other things. This means that it is wrong to practice untouchability. Definitely, it's wrong, and we should also look after those people who are still practicing this. We should help them. and this practice will not be tolerated by a democratic government. India is a democratic country for the people, of the people, by the people. So this type of untouchability will not be tolerated. Untouchability now is a punishable crime. You may even go to jail or life sentence can be done on you. And there's another addition to Article 17, that is Article 15, which states that no one can be discriminated against religion, caste, gender, sex, or place of birth. Whosoever you are having free right to life. That's the first fundamental point. Students, now there's a question in front of you. You may pause the video and then you may see that why right to freedom and right to cultural and educational rights, ये सब क्यों बनाया, इन सब की क्यों जरूरत थी. राइट, एक राइट टू लाइफ तो काफी है ना. hmm think, why are there so many rights? I think one or two rights must have been sufficient, but because everything is connected and interrelated, so government is trying to make such rights. For example, right to freedom. If there is no right to life, can there be right to freedom? Definitely not. If there is no right to cultural or educational rights, can there be right to life? Definitely not. So everything, each and everything is interrelated. So yes, now there's a poem in front of you. You need to observe this poem carefully and you need to write in the chat box or in your notebooks, notice what this entire poem is all about. It's a body is unclean, the soul is untamed, impurity of the body. यहाँ पे किसके बारे बातें हो रही है? Think and then elaboratively write. This will help you in thinking from your other domains as well. Now, students, write the correct answer in the chat box. I'll be waiting for all of your answers, those who are viewing my video. So, Article 17 is introduced in the Constitution to abolish dash. We have just now started. Okay, and this is true or false? You also need to mention this. So now we have studied about articles of untouchability, Article 17 and Article 15. Now let's move forward and see what else is left. Okay, so there's a question for you in front of the screen. Pause the video for a minute and then read. Apart from implementing articles for the marginalized people, government have made some laws. Definitely they have made. So what things will government consider when it is creating a new law or act? क्या क्या चीज को ध्यान में रखेगी? Firstly, people who are suffering. Secondly, if we will create law, is it for the welfare of entire community or for the one people? Thirdly, who will benefit from this law? Who will fail from this law? Okay, is this in the interest of all other peoples or if only one community is being protected? All these things will be taken into consideration. And then government will come with a new law or new act which should be safeguarding the interest of the people. Now, I have pasted one image of a map of India which is showing the state-wise tribal population percentage in India. So there's a map in front of you. Just pause the video for 30 seconds and then observe that which states in India are having the most number of untouchable people, Dalit people and OBC people. That means other backward class. Okay, so I'll be marking northeastern states of Assam, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Tripura, it's Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, then Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan is having 12.6 percentage. Observing the percentage, we have Daman and Diu with 11.5 and 62.2 respectively. Then in Pondicherry, we don't have. In Tamil Nadu, we have only 1%. So we can conclude that in northeastern states, in this region, somewhere near Rajasthan and somewhere near Daman and Diu, we have majority of scheduled tribes. Now the point arises. Keeping these states in mind, what is the government implementing for these states? Is there any new law, rule, reformation, any sort of new thing implemented by the government of these states? Yes or no? think. Think for a minute. It's thinking is good. Okay. So I'll be moving forward and you need to mention your answers in the chat box. Which specific rule? You will be mentioning this in the chat box and along with the interest that how that rule will help in the interest of the tribal people. This should be there and your answer should be aligned with the map which we had just now studied all about. Now, government is making two things for these marginalized people. First thing is definitely promoting social justice, which we all know. Now, social justice means social inclusion can be done, giving them access to parks, public places, clubs, temples, drawing out water from temple wells, all these things making them feel included in the society can be done, and it is promoting social justice, harmony among people. Definitely that's the first point and government is trying to do. Now second point comes of reservation system. What is reservation all about? So basically reservation system is to reserve something, some part or some portion for the future. As we all know that reservation means kuch bacha ke rakhna for something, whereas promoting means to promote something in the harmony and welfare of others. So, what reservation system is all about, we'll study here. So, I hope all those who are watching the videos, maybe you are students, maybe you are uh, college students, university students, students of class 10, 8, Arakshan is a form of reservation system. Now, what is Arakshan all about? Arakshan is all about a film which was made, it came into August 12 cinemas, that how people were demanding their rights. Initially, people were ignorant, they had no idea. But जैसे जैसे उनको पता चलता गया, they started demanding. So, reservation basically means to reserve a part or something for the future. According to the government of India, I am speaking here from government perspective, that they introduced reservation system in two areas. The first area was education. Students will get this system, benefit of the system in education. And second was पब्लिक जॉब्स वेरी करेक्ट सो एक तो आपको एजुकेशन में मिलेगा कोटा रिजर्वेशन का secondly if you qualify you will get reservation in public jobs so these two were the areas so how does a government know how much reservation is to be given for the state of Jammu Kashmir Jharkhand Nagaland Arunachal Pradesh how will government know government has to do something to find. Do you all agree with me? I need yes in the chat box for this, right? So what is the strategy done by government? When people are casting vote, when people are voting during the time of elections, the state government and the central government gets a data about the total number of OBCs, STs and SCs in their area for which they reserve seats. Now, whenever we are filling that election form, we'll tick the correct category to which we are applying. If we are normal, we'll correct check in the normal box. If I am from OBC, I'll tick mark in the OBC box. And in this way, a data will be recorded in the government, and from there they can find out, okay, this state, Jammu Kashmir, has this much number of STSE, so we will reserve this much. For example, it is having around 80%, so they will make a pie chart and they will reserve this much section for the education and maybe this much section for the public jobs because reservation is important. People will not get jobs. So this can be done for education, this can be done for the public and they are good to go. Now, how does this reservation system work? We have find out that how will they find the data, but actually how will it process is the first step. Whenever if we are knowing that I am from a scheduled caste, if I am scheduled tribe, if I am from OBC background, the first thing which I'll be going to make is my caste certificate from any court or government office. Once I made that caste certificate, the second step will be I need to find out that whether I want to study or I want to do a job. Job may be only I'll be getting private public sector jobs such as BSNL, BHEL and Oil India, SAIL, BHEL, Bharat Petroleum and all those public jobs. jobs that are listed, not private jobs, because public jobs may government has the most number of reservation quota. If I am student, on the other hand, so I'll find out all those universities and colleges that are there in the category of government or public sector universities. For instance, one picture I pasted is of Jawaharlal JNU. It's a very famous. Other thing can be, if I'm going to medical college, so I'll be going for AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Others can be Aligarh Muslim University can be done, or any other thing can be done. Like keeping in mind that is done by the government, and then we'll go and apply for either admission or for resume or job in case of job application. Now government has set cutoff marks and it also provides the tribal people the scholarship under the system. Now each and everyone cannot go and apply. Suppose if I am from Jharkhand state and Jharkhand has got around 50% of tribal people, you know, so all those 50% cannot go and apply. So where will the normal people go? So for this also they have set some certain cutoff marks. Like okay, all those tribal people who have got more than 75% are eligible for applying. So yes, this will also create interest and they will also get scholarship. Now you need to elaborate, think and elaborate that what are the schemes by the government for STSCs and how will it benefit them. So I have listed three schemes in front of this. You may pause this video, think and then either comment on the chat box or write it on your copies and notebooks that how will it benefit them. I have written the schemes, you need to write the benefits. Moving forward, you need to answer this in the chat box. Each one should have different answer along with different points. Why do you think that reservation system is important? I'll be waiting for your answers in the chat box, students. Now, before moving forward, just now we have discussed about untouchability, Article 17, Article 15, then schemes by the government, marginalization, and then how government is implementing various other schemes, benefits, and reservation quotas. Now we will see that how it protects schemes to bana diya, but now how it is protecting with the help of the story Ratnam. Now Ratnam is a boy and this is his original story which was there. So this story is all about a village where there was a religious occasion going on, where Dalit people used to wash. They used to wash the feet of the priest, the upper caste priest, and then they used to bath in that water. Ratnam's grandfather and father used to perform this ceremony. So this time it was Ratnam's turn to do this. So इसके father and grandfather तो किए. This time it was his turn. But Ratnam was a boy of 20 years and he was studying engineering in a nearby college. That means he was educated. Now there's a plot twist. Ratnam refused to perform this ceremony as he had no faith in this, and he also said that everything, whatever we are doing, we are forced to do that. We are not doing by our will. And by listening to this statement, everyone in the village was shocked and they got angry. Ratnam and his family believed that Ratnam is now comparing himself. He's a Dalit. Dekho, Dalit hoke is comparing to powerful people. How can this be? So they started making stories. Villagers. Why? Why were they started making stories? They were criticizing Ratnam for what? For being educated, for studying engineering. See, he's educated, he's engineer, doing engineering, and now he's obeying us. This is what he is being taught in schools and colleges. This is what the education which he is giving. This is what he is receiving. Now he is arguing. But actually, the truth is, we all know Ratnam was getting more and more awareness that such type of laws, superstitions, don't even exist. Are you getting my point, students? Yes or no? So now comes the twist, continuation of the story. Other people who was also from Ratnam's caste, other Dalits, thought that he has made a very big mistake by the powerful people angry. They told Ratnam that the deity जिसका आपने पूजा करने से मना कर दिया will curse him for refusing to perform. And Ratnam was sitting and laughing. Deity will curse me? We are Dalits. We never entered the temple. How will deity know about me? How will I have curse? His point was very, very valid, students. And now, what was happening? Everyone stopped talking to Ratnam and his family, and they were excluding them from the society, keeping them on the outskirts. One day, those powerful people, upper caste people, thought teaching him a very big lesson. They set his hut on fire. Ratnam managed to escape with his mother and directly went to the police station and filed a complaint. भाग भाग के रत्नम गया पुलिस स्टेशन filed a complaint. Now think कि what would be the complaint? Under which act will he file a complaint? There must be some act for Ratnam to file. So what would be the act? Think, then answer. So the students, so today's topic, the act in which Ratnam has filed a complaint is the Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribes, Prevention of Atrocities Act. Now, Prevention of Atrocities Act, it came in 1989, immediately after things were going wrong with Ratnam. So Ratnam's case was spread by the local journalists, by the media people, and by each and every one. Okay, so this act was formed in 1989. Immediately, his case was spread in the entire country of India. By this act was made the demands of Dalit people because they were facing humiliation and inequality. So people said, we want justice, we want demand, we want equality, we want to reduce disparity and discrimination. And during this entire period, Dalits and the other backward people also refused to perform their caste-based duties. जो भी होती थी, priest को पानी पिलाना, priest के पैर धो के खुद पीना, whatever they were having, so they refused to do because we will be having a very our own personal act so soon that they want to be treated equally. This act is very deep and it contains a lot of content. So what does it act contain? This act is having three basic important contents. First is the mode of humiliation. किस मोड से किस तरह से they were humiliating them. Actions done by the upper powerful caste. ऐसे कौन से actions थे, क्या क्या तरीके से, किस तरीकों से उन्होंने humiliate किया, समझ गए. थर्ड इज क्राइम्स अगेंस्ट द दलित एंड द ट्राइबल. ना उन्होंने ऐसा कौन सा क्राइम किया कि दलित एंड ट्राइबल पीपल को दुख हुआ. So basically, this act contains three important information. Mode of humiliation, which we all know, they used to walk naked in the villages. They were not allowed to wear slippers when they are passing from a Brahman's house. So this was a mode of humiliation. Actions में आएगा, they were got beating, marginalized, robbed, house was on fire. This was the action. And crime was rape, murder, theft, and suicide. So these were the heinous acts that were done, and this has been recorded in this act also. Now, think and tell me that establishment of Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Act to ban gaya. Fine. In 1989, after Ratnam's case was spread across India. So it gave voice to the Dalits and the Scheduled Caste and Tribe. How? Think and then write in the chat box how it gave voice. कैसे उनको अपनी बातों का एहसास हुआ. How they came to know about their rights. How they came to know that we will not stoop so low. We have our own life, right to freedom, right to existence, right to education. कैसे? They got a voice, but with the help of this, how? You need to mention that elaboratively. This is very important question. You make this question may come in your exams as well. Last but not the least, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes came in response to the humiliation, unjust system, inequality, or all of the above. Think. This is not very tricky question. Think and then give the answer in the chat box. So let's recap, students. What have we studied in today's class? What do you mean by invoking fundamental rights was our first topic. That how Dalits can use Constitution of India, Charter, Acts, articles to show हमारा भी हक है. This is mean by invoking. What type of system ensures quota? We studied about reservation system. We saw a poster of movie Arakshan that tells that government has separate quotas and reservations for ST, ST and OBCs. Which categories of people can file a case under the scheduled caste and tribes? It's very obvious. Dalits, social minorities, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So students, I'll be ending the chapter here only. If you have any doubts, feel free to comment in the video. Feel free to comment in the chat box. I'll be coming very soon with continuation and expansion of this chapter number 8. Till then, goodbye and thank you for my video. Kindly like, share and subscribe.